Welcome to yet another lesson of Microsoft Word from Ezone School of Computing. We've had a couple of lessons in Microsoft Word, which are all on our YouTube channel, Ezone School of Computing. So please, if you've not yet subscribed, please go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Search for Ezone School of Computing. In today's lesson, we want to look at page layouts, borders, the size of the page, and then the margins, columns, and page color. So, of course, we shall open Microsoft Word, and as usual, I'll go to Start. And then in my case here, I have Word on my start menu, but for you, if you don't have it here, please follow my pointer. If you don't have it here, scroll down. Word is at the bottom, towards the bottom. Click Start, and like we've been doing in previous lessons, we are going to choose blank document. Now, whenever you start Microsoft Word, it starts in a portrait format. That's by default. But we have two formats. You can either have your document in portrait or in landscape. Allow me zoom out so that we look at what I am trying to mean here. When you look at our document, this blank document of ours, the height, this height on the left or on the right, this height is longer than the width. It's longer than the width. This is portrait orientation. And if you want to work with a document that is in landscape, you'll go to layout on our ribbon, go to the layout tab, and then choose the second option here. We have orientation, and then you can choose landscape. So in landscape, the width here is longer than the height. But like I said, by default, all our documents, whenever we start Microsoft Word, are in portrait orientation. So let me give an example where you'll find this necessary. Let me just zoom in a bit, and then let's start. I'll go back to home. I'll change my font size and then my font. So let me create a simple table, a table of details of residents in Wakiso. So I'm going to press enter. I want to put a simple table here. Insert table. This is revision. We worked with tables before. So I'll choose maybe 4 columns and 20 rows. So we have your table here, and in the first column, you want to have a number. Perhaps you can call this a serial number. And then here, in the second column, we shall have the name, and then contact, and then the signature of the person. You can resize this column to perhaps that size, and then names could be long, so we can even increase the width of this column, and then balance the two for contact and signature. So you find that when we are in portrait mode, this table here will fit, and the portrait, that the size of our our paper is just enough to have these details. But now, supposing, let me first correct the spelling for residents. Now, supposing we had more details to put for these people. For example, you need the serial number, the name of this person, the contact, the national ID number, that is NIN. You need their residence, you need their a second contact, and their next of kin. You'll find that this space will not be enough. So in the end, if you wanted to add more columns here, right click to add more columns, you'll find that you are out of space on your paper. So what do we do in this case? So after determining that you need more space for more details, that's when you go back to layout, and then go to orientation, and then choose landscape. Landscape gives you more space for more details. So here you can let us select these columns. Let's select these two columns, and then right click, and then go to insert, and then insert columns to the right. So you find that we have added two more columns on the right. So perhaps you need the name, the contact, the sign, and then you need a second contact 2. This was contact 1, and then here you need ID number. So you find that if we were to add these details, our page in portrait orientation on mode wouldn't be enough. So that's why we chose to switch to the landscape mode. So that's briefly basically about landscape and portrait. If you went back to orientation and chose portrait, these columns would be so squeezed that the details wouldn't fit in those boxes. So that is why we went to orientation and chose landscape. Another thing I want us to let us create. So should we? No, I think let's work with this. Let us delete this table. I'll select here at the upper left corner, and then on my keyboard I'll press everything. I remove everything. I want to also remove some of these columns, so I'll select them. I select them and then right click and then choose delete columns. So let me go back to orientation and choose portrait, and then let me zoom so that I get so that I can clearly see what I'm doing. Now the other thing is, by default your paper has sizes. The paper we use every day, like here in Uganda, we use Rotatrim so much. The size of that paper is A4. So if you want to change the size of paper in Microsoft Word, the paper you're working with, still under layout, you'll go to size, and then if you notice, the first selected option is letter. Microsoft Word documents by default are in letter size, but the paper we use in Uganda is size A4 normally used. The size we normally use. So you can come here and choose size A4. There is not much difference between size A4 and letter, but just to be specific, sometimes you might need to go to size and choose A4 when creating your document. Then there are times when you have to drag these margins, just to increase the size of your just here. you can play around with these margins by dragging. So you are in one of the lessons previously we talked about margins, but here specifically we can adjust the size of margins here. For example, we have a 1-inch margin on the left here. If you want to use more space of this paper of yours, you'll move your mouse just here and hover your mouse on the boundary between the gray area and the white area. You'll get two arrows pointing left and right. So you hold down your mouse and drag. You now have more space, more workspace on your paper. Then even here we have a margin, a 1-inch margin at the top. We call this the header. If you want to reduce this size, you can manually hover your mouse over this between the gray and white area, and when you get two arrows pointing up and down, hold your mouse and then drag such that you have more space in your document. So that's about the margins. Then I want also to talk about columns in Microsoft Word. We shall do this with a new document. If you don't remember, we can, if Word is open, you can start a new document by pressing Ctrl plus N. So we have a blank and new document here. I want to put some text here that we are going to work with. Round equals maybe 5 columns by 6, and then 5 rows. 5 paragraphs. So we have our document here. However, this size is too small for my eyes. I select the entire document. I used Ctrl plus A, and then I'll come here, choose the font size, and even choose the font. So I have my work here that covers around 2 pages, 1.5 pages. Now by default, when you open Microsoft, when you start Microsoft Word, you have 1 column for your content. So paragraph after paragraph is covering the entire page. What would you do if you wanted to add columns to this page of yours? So what you'll do, let us get back to layout, and then under layout, come to columns, and then you can choose perhaps 2 columns. So you now see that your document, your paragraphs have been arranged into 2 columns. That is it. You can even go further and maybe choose 3 columns. So the document now has 3 columns. Then next I'll talk about border styles. But before I go to border styles, I want to show you a quick one. If you went to design, you can change the color of this page. Our page has always been white and the text black, but just maybe sometimes you want to change the color of this background. You can go to page color. Under design, follow my mouse pointer, and then at the extreme right there is an option for page colors. So you click and choose. I want my page to be the background to be dark red. So our page color is dark red. I hope you can see that. Play around with the colors until you get what suits you. But let me change to perhaps green. So we have a green background for our page. Now let us go to borders. Now for borders, we shall also start a new document. Ctrl N is the shortcut for bringing a new document. Let me get a very quick some quick text here. I'll change the font and font size. So I'll type Ezone School of Computing. Then I'll press enter once, then enter another time. I have a student here, student's name. I'll enter twice, and then a research. Forgive my typos. This is supposed to be EA. A research report on gender imbalance in enrollment for computer lessons at Ezone School of Computing in a bingo. And then I'll press enter twice. I'll put a date, 28th October 2021. So let me get this text. Let me select the entire text, and perhaps I'll increase the font size to that. Then I'll have this centered, and we are making a cover page for a report. Ideally, it would be good if this cover page had a border. How are you going to have a border for this cover page? On our ribbon, we have design here. So when we go to design, move to the extreme right, and then go to page borders. You have many options here for page borders. You can, under style, you can scroll down and find which one works for you. For example, I will choose this one. It's a 3-point line with it, and then I'll tell this to apply to. You can choose between whole document, section, first page only, whatever the case, and then you click OK. So let me zoom out so that you see the border on our page. So we have a page border on our page. Let me press Ctrl Z to remove that border. Let us do this again. You have your document here, and you want a page border on this page. Like I said, go to design, and then to the extreme right, find page borders. Under style, you can choose any of these styles. But now let us go to art. Under art, when you click on this drop down arrow, there are several options. You can scroll down until you find one that suits your liking. So let me choose this, and then here under apply to, I'll choose first page only, but you have other options: whole document, this section, all except first page. For me, I choose this section, first page only, and then I'll click OK. So I have a page border there for me. So in this lesson, we looked at page orientation, the size of the page. We had a brief look at the margins, and then border styles, columns, and page color. Let us just go again to page color. If you go to page color here and choose perhaps blue, you'll have a blue background for your page. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and search for Ezone School of Computing. If you want this and more still, please visit our website www.ezoneschool.com, and then you can also get to us through email info@ezoneschool.com. Our WhatsApp number is +256 772 111 223, or you can give us a call direct on +256 752 111 2 to 3. Thank you for watching.